This is a brief overview of using client certificates in Alpha Anywhere. First, I'll show you that I've got a couple of client certificates here that I use for testing. One is issued to Terry Smith by my test authority, certificate authority. Another is Terry Doppelganger, misspelled. As you can see, the certificate has an email address associated with it. This is important because this is how the user will be known in the system. And you can see for Terry Doppelganger, on the subject, it's his email address. Excuse me. So back in Alpha Anywhere, you develop the application just as if you would normally do with a login screen. You would require, you have your web security. Has a login page, password required, security is active. In my case, I'm just using a security table in DBF. You are going to want to specify a no access or insufficient permission page. In this case, I called mine noaccess.a5w. A certificate can be issued by a certificate authority, but that certificate or that user might not be authorized to access anything in the application. So while the certificate may be valid, you don't want them to have any access to anything in the application. And in this case, I'm also defining a default security group of non-admin. Then we can go to the users and groups, and you can see here I have a few users, and specifically here's Terry at alphasoftware.com, who's in the administrator and non-admin group. I'm going to look at my home page, and the page security set on that page is administrator or non-admin. So in this case, Terry will be allowed access to this page, but Terry Doppelganger will not because he's not in the system. So you develop your app, you secured it in the way you normally would. Now you need to create a publish profile. When you create a publish profile, you're still going to need a membership provider and membership provider database. So you define your connection string to that database, same with the role. Most cases it'll be same as membership provider, security application name. But then under the advanced settings, you're going to want to select require client certificate. This will ensure during publish that the app is configured to use SSL and to require a client certificate. Here in my already created publish profile, that setting is located right here, that require a client certificate. In this case, I have chosen to use ignore because I don't want to publish users all the time. This is only a default setting. Now you go to publish, and I'll choose preserve. That's going to look and see if there are any users. This will publish the application and the users that I've defined. So it's Sion, Selwyn, and Terry. Those will be users that will be known in the system. So you go ahead and publish the application, and then when you run it, let's open up Chrome. When you try to access a page in the application, IS is going to return saying, I want a client certificate. These are the client certificates that are available on my system. And here we have Terry Doppelganger. I'm going to pause and create a second video showing what happens when the user is selected. This is part 2 of using client certificates in Alpha Anywhere. When I left off, I was running the application, and IIS is prompting for me to select a client certificate to send to it. So I'm going to use Terry Doppelganger. Okay. I have a key on the certificate. It is, type that in. That certificate is sent to IIS. The certificate is valid. However, Terry Doppelganger does not have any access to anything in the system. So it's returned to the no access page. What I want to do now is show what happens when someone does have access. So this is coming up. Here again, this is now IE, and it's again prompting me for a client certificate set. I'll use Terry's client cert. Now this one does not have a password associated with it, so it's not going to prompt me. Oops. Pause. Okay, I straightened that out. Let's start up IE again, and I'll prompt for a certificate. I'll give it Terry, and here we are, Terry at alphasoftware.com, showing me my roles, and I was authenticated and allowed into the system. Now in the case of Terry Doppelganger, maybe I do want to add him into the system. So going back to Terry's page, Terry is an admin and has this ability. That's how I set this up. I'm going to go add a user. Now this is using the default or the built-in UX for adding a user. This can be customized. You can remove these. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to put I need to put some valid data in for password and confirm password because the UX requires it. So now Terry Doppelganger has been added along with the default role of non-admin. So now I can go back to the Chrome browser and try and access the home page. And now Terry Doppelganger has access as non-admin to the home page, which is accessible to admins and non-admins. That's how you can add users after your application has been published. There is one other point to consider. Oftentimes, when a new user is logged in, some script will need to be run in your application. There's a new definition of an XBasic module. Anything that's named system.onSession created will be loaded when a new session is created. In this case, when a new user is logged in. So when that is defined, this function called onSessionCreated in the module system.onSessionCreated will get executed. So you can perform initialization tasks or any sort of other tasks that need to be done when a new user is logged in. Of course, there's no login page, so the new user login is when a new session is created. And that would achieve the same result as on login. So that's the brief overview. If you have any questions, send me an email to A5V12bugs@alphasoftware.com, and someone will address them. Thank you.